me.
Good morning, for what it's worth. FatMan's here. Got Guy Smiley with me today. And we're just kind of going to chat here and have some breakfast. This is Guy's sheet that finally came out. It's still a little damp, so everything's still wrapped in plastic, but it's looking pretty decent. He likes it anyway.
Looks nice.
So
now I gotta make the knife look good.
Well, we can do that too.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of grabbing, well, I got steel wool for this and stuff, but steel wool, the blade a lot, and possibly hot etching it with vinegar, just to see if there was any pattern in the steel when they made it, you know, kind of make it look pretty a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that. It's kind of not the greatest steel. It's not bad, but
no, it's not.
Yeah, but it's not like Damascus steel.
Well, no, but I mean, even almost any steel, you're gonna have some patterning in it and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, more than likely these were just hammer stamped in the factory.
Yeah, not a phenomenal blade.
No.
We're gonna have to take this off because it won't fit in my chair. My ass is too wide to fit in my chair with a holster.
No, the chair's too narrow to fit your ass. Anyway.
So we're kind of talking about prepping the other day and what kind of skill sets you need. I don't know if you remember that, it was a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that in my skill sets, I don't have a lot of the skills that you have. We both have different skills, and, but we complement each other.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to put together a group of people that you're going to survive the apocalypse, that's not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
You need to have people that are going to complement your skill sets as opposed to have the same skill sets.
Yeah.
You're going to say something?
Well, I was just thinking where it's one of them where it's you can't, you know, you're going to need people to, your quote-unquote fighters.
Yeah.
You know, or your people for defense. But I mean, if that's all they can do, you know,
every die.
Yeah, because I mean, it's in any situation. I mean, kind of like what we're having in our society now, where we're ending up having too many people that are sitting there and they don't work, they won't work, they really don't have any skill sets. So then it's bogging everybody else down. They got to pick up the slack. Well, if you got people that, you know, you're their defenders, but they can't grow anything, they can't fix anything, they can't do anything except change light bulbs and shoot things. Everybody else is going to have to pick up the slack. So I mean, you need people that. Well, my wife and I were talking about it last night. It's like actually like the Vikings, where the Vikings, you know, they weren't just warriors; they were farmers, they were explorers, they were everything, and everybody complemented each other.
Kind of comes from our Norwegian heritage.
Yeah, a little bit. Where I mean, everybody just kind of pitches in and you do stuff. I mean, I'm a multitasker where not only can I'm pretty fair with a weapon, but I mean, I can cook, I can make things. There's what do you call it, wildcraft, gathering stuff. And I mean, just, well, from our backgrounds too, where, I mean, my dad was a child of the Depression, so you learned how to, you know, he took a license plate one time and an old leg off of I think a TV stand, and he turned that into a scraper for the wood stove. Coolest thing in the world, you know.
I remember my grandfather doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of scary what people come up with and how they do it. And up until we moved from the farm, it seemed like I would always find something. He took an old broken shovel handle one time and one of the teeth off of a sickle mower.
Okay.
And put the two together and made a little, I don't even want to call it a hatchet, but he used it in the barn for cutting the twine on the bales of hay.
Oh, yeah, okay, I can see that. Yep.
Worked fantastic. Didn't have to ever sharpen it because it was a little serrated on it. But
yeah. Yeah, there's things that I've seen people make where you can't buy anything like that.
Yeah,
and you know, and it's really cool how, heck, when my dad, he did furniture refinishing, and he hated the chemical stuff, not only the smell and stuff, but he said it didn't work because he said when you stained it, he said the wood wouldn't absorb it because the stripper was still in there.
Yeah.
He said so what he did was took broken glass. We had a bunch of windows because boys tend to break windows sometimes. Don't know how that happened. But he had a bunch of glass around, and not being one to throw anything away without using it at least one more time, he would sit and break the glass and then look for the right shard and sit and pull it with the grain and stuff, and he'd strip it right down to bare wood, so you wouldn't really have to sand it that much, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I mean.
I just think people buy scrapers like that.
Well, yeah, exactly. And
I've done the same thing when I was working on some gun stocks.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a scraper, and I went out in my shop and I found a piece of galvanized tin,
mm-hmm.
and it worked great. I scraped it down, and off we went, and that stock looks pretty good now.
Yeah, and the thing is that there are millions upon millions of YouTube videos, and YouTube's my favorite channel. and I'll sit and look through stuff, and just to get ideas. But if somebody is sitting there and they're scraping a piece of furniture to strip it with glass, I'm not going to go out and buy a pane of glass and break it to do it.
Right.
There are some people that have that mentality that, oh, I need to do that. No, it's to look around you, see what your resource is.
Use what you have.
Yeah, and utilize your resources.
Yep.
It's that old, if the world gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And some people just don't get it.
Yep. I needed some steel one day for something that I was working on. I just needed a small piece to make a gusset. And God knows I couldn't find anything around the house or around the shop. And I went over to the recycling center, and they all sell you steel by the pound, whatever is out in the pile.
Yeah.
So you find a lot of it was brand new steel. It had been cut, there had been pieces cut out of it, and then you get small pieces, that's all. But I've found more of it than I needed, and I probably grabbed about 40 pounds of steel and took with me for like $5. So I have some steel now.
It's kind of amazing what you come across, and like pallets. My wife's uncle, my uncle-in-law, he's a borderline hoarder, and but he'll come across things. He's a resource expert. Yeah, that's it. and he'll come across things, and he's come across some pallets, and I'll go over there and I'm looking for something because he's probably got it, and I seen a pallet one time, and I went over and I went into the house, I got a rag, I went out and I got the dirt off the pallet, and it was teak.
Wow.
And I'm just like, what are you going to do with that? Oh, I figured I'd just kind of, break it up and burn it. No! I said, that's teak. I said, if nothing else, because he does woodwork and stuff, if nothing else, I said, use it for an inlay or something, or build like a small box out of it. He ended up building his sister, my mother-in-law, he built his sister like a little frame box for something, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. And people don't think of that either. You might grab a pallet from somewhere and not even think twice about it. It's just a pallet.
Yeah.
I needed a pallet for something, and I don't keep pallets laying around. But most pallets are made of oak, which is a good solid wood. This particular one that I grabbed was plastic.
Oh, okay.
But it could be taken apart.
Oh, okay.
So you would have the top piece and the bottom piece and the pieces in between. And it's a really cool pallet, but I just needed it to put under something, and I only needed about an inch high. This one will work just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things, it's look at your resources, and that when you have people, I mean, Scott and I think this way. I hate to admit this, especially on camera. My wife is going to give me so much crap for this. But that I'll look at some stuff and I'll just scratch my head over it. I'll beat my head into a wall and I just can't figure it out. And she'll come up. Why don't you just do this?
Yeah, you know, my wife does the same thing, and it really pisses me off.
Yeah. And it's just...
Just leave me alone. I'll figure it out sooner or later. Of course, I will figure out the right way to do something, and she'll have a whole different take on it.
Yeah. But it's one of them after. I've been married for 20 years. I know you've been married for 25, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's one of these where, you know, every now and then they do have some pretty... it's not necessarily easier, but it's a different angle. And it's just something to help you think on it, where it's like, you know, I mean, you got to swallow your pride a little bit. What's the one
Which
thing?
hurts sometimes.
Yeah. I've seen a little caption one time, a guy's hanging off a cliff. He's hanging onto a small branch, and there's a guy reaching down trying to help him, and the guy's got a big bag full of pride. You got to let go of that pride before you. So it's one of them that you look at it and it's like, all right, we'll try it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, and at least my wife, she doesn't immediately rub it in. You know, she'll
my wife will take every opportunity to rub it in.
Oh.
But sometimes too, and that's part of the skill sets being not the same and just complementary, is that I'll get ideas from my wife because she'll think. My wife thinks a little more abstractly, and I'm very concrete. Mm-hmm. And Lynn thinks a little more abstractly than I do.
Yeah.
And you know, to have a team to survive something that's never going to happen. It's just funny to talk about. It's fun to talk about it.
Yeah.
Neither of us believe that anything is going to happen, and my preps amount to about 2 weeks worth of groceries. So
I was going to say in my situation, you know, the SHTF, so, you know, the shit hitting the fan. Well, you know, around here, you know, it's winter weather, more than tornadoes, but winter weather. Cold will kill you faster than heat will.
Yep.
But then you got tornadoes. We had a fall flood a couple of years ago that was one of them 500-year floods, and it hit everybody by surprise. It's those little things, and in my situation, almost 2 years ago in October, I ended up having an amputation on my left leg. I tell you, it'll
wake you up in a big hurry, won't it?
Yeah, we had some preps, we had some you know, food put away a couple months worth, thank God, because, you know, a lot of people say, well, you're handicapped now, you know, the government will help you, which really was difficult to do, to get government help. But you know what? They don't help you that well.
They don't help you that well.
And
the people out there that rely on it, and, you know, they're the ones that are not going to succeed in the apocalypse, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they're just, you know, if something does happen, and if one of the first things that should go out of our economic system is the welfare system. Needs a lot of tweaking. Yeah. They keep saying they're modifying it and changing it, but they sure aren't doing any good. Obamacare has done nothing for me but cost me more money.
Yeah.
You know, they take money out of my paycheck. I still don't have health care.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a whole other video.
Yeah. We're not getting into that on my channel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we love our government.
I try to steer away from politics.
Yeah. But it's even in a SHTF situation, you know, you're going to have, well, people like myself. I mean, I may not be able to fully physically do, and even though I'll end up doing stuff I'm not supposed to do, just because it needs to be done. If somebody doesn't do it, you got to do it. But I mean, show people how to make axe handles. Show people how to, no offense, but as my dad said too, you know, the world needs ditch diggers, or, you know, somebody's got to pick the fly shit out of the pepper. You know, I mean, there's no little jobs, just little people, because, you know, it's got to be done.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. One of the biggest things is, oh my God, don't be so full of yourself that you can't do something.
Yeah.
if I need to go pick up crap off of the front lawn because my dog's pooped, by God, I'm going to go pick up that crap off of the front lawn.
Yeah, there's no woman's work,
No.
so to speak, because and that just almost, needs to be changed, because I know guys, well, that's a woman's work, and it's just like.
What was I doing when you came here?
Yeah, I was gonna say he
I was cleaning the kitchen,
yeah,
sweeping the floor. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah, and like I love to cook, and there has been a bunch of women when I've gone over to visit at, so I'll pitch in to help. That's where I think one of my major skills is cooking. And I'll go over to a place and supper starts, I'll automatically start pitching in, and they look at me and are sit down, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm not used to that. I automatically at about 5-6 o'clock at home, it's what's for supper.
Yeah.
And
I cook for my wife and I every couple times a week now because being in town and we're both busy anyway, we've saved enough on gas alone that we can afford to eat a little bit better. So, and I'm not always driving somewhere or going somewhere. So, and I really enjoy cooking, but I think she might stop cooking for me. So, but I think we should probably wrap this up. It's camera can only go so long.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of them part 1, part 2, part 3 things. So.
Yeah, and you ain't got a whole lot going on, so.
Not really.
I'm pretty much got every Monday morning free. That's why I decided on this segment.
Pretty much.
So, be looking for Guy Smiley to come back. I'll probably double post this video on his channel too, just so everybody kind of gets a flavor for him. So that's going to be it for now. You guys stay safe and God bless.